So welcome to this new tutorial, guys. So here we are going to learn about how to interact with our local blockchain network using HTTP JSON requests. So we are going to use VS Code for this. So let's click on this button and get started. And for this we need Ganache CLI, which is a local blockchain network, which is already installed in our machine for your convenience. So let's move on with our current tutorial. So first of all, let's open the terminal from VS Code. So we'll open the terminal, and once the terminal is open, we can execute this command to check if Ganache CLI is installed and what is its current version. So so this is the version of current Ganache CLI. It's 7.9.0. So that means it's correctly installed. So now we can move on with our work. So first of all, we need to start our local blockchain, and executing this command will start a local blockchain with a set of addresses and all of them will be topped up with some amount of ethers in them as well. So let's get started with it. We are executing this command, and with this, the JSON-RPC server has been started. Ganache CLI has started it. So these are the 10 available accounts, and all the accounts have been topped up with 1000 ethers. And this is our local test network. So we have the private keys as well as these are the public keys of the accounts. And this is the default block gas limit, gas price, everything is here. The chain ID is also provided. So now we will see how we can interact with our local blockchain network from our VS Code. So moving on with the manual. So there is an VS Code extension called Thunder Client, and we have already installed this in our VS Code here. By clicking this, we are enabling the extension and it will start the extension. So the extension has started. I would minimize this so that you can see. So you can also install it by going to this extensions, and then you can search Thunder Client here and you can install it from here. So as we have already installed it, let's move ahead with this one. So now we will go and import the collections. So we have already made a collection of all the JSON-RPC calls that we need, so that it saves your time and it will be easier for you to understand what is the things that are going on. So we will go ahead with that. So let's go on to the next step. So first of all, we need to go to this collections tab. After we have come to the collections tab, we will click on this particular icon, and from here we have to select the import from URL. And the URL that we need to paste is this particular URL, because this is the GitHub gist link where we have put all the collections in the GitHub, and in that collection all the commands or all the JSON-RPC calls are stored in a structured manner. So we will click on import from URL and we will import this particular URL collection. Once we hit enter, you can see a collection named as blockchain interaction commands is here. So when we click on that, you can see these are all post requests, because JSON-RPC requests are basically HTTP requests. So this is the first request that is named as fetch account. So once we click on that, the menu opens, and here we can see this is the JSON-RPC request, and this is the actual request. So we'll just minimize this one a bit more. Yeah. So this is the JSON-RPC request. This is the JSON-RPC version, and this is the main method or function that we are asking to execute through our request. And that's it. So once we hit send here, and this is the localhost 8545. So this is where the request is being sent. So now let's hit the send button and see something will happen. So we have got a status of OK. That means our request was correct, accepted, and everything is green, and we have got a response here as well. So what this request does is that it basically fetches all the Ethereum accounts in that particular network. And as you can see, we have received 10 responses from here. So if we try to match these with the accounts we have already had in our server as well, so we can go to the terminal and visit the terminal here. So once we have hit the terminal here, you can see that these are the private keys and this is the public keys. So it has listed all the public keys. So if you compare these, you can see these are all same. So basically what it does is that it fetches all the accounts that is present in the blockchain network and it shows you as a response. So that was about the very first API call that we have made, guys. So now we will go ahead with the next JSON-RPC request. And what it does is that it fetches the block numbers and it returns it as a response. And this request's ID is 83. So let's just execute this one as well. So we hit the send button, and we've got a result. And as you can see, it is 0x0, which is a hexadecimal value whose decimal equivalence is equals to 0. And in the next steps, we are also going to see how we can, convert the hexadecimal values to decimal values very simply from our own terminal. So let's go to the other command as well. So this is a get web3 client version. So it will give you the version of the web3 client. So let's just run it and see what we get. And this is the result that we have got. And it is Ganache /v7.9.0 Ethereum JS test script, and some other versions are given. So if you just scroll up on the terminal, you can see this is the version Ganache 7.9.0, which is also shown here. So basically what it is, Web3 client means is that the blockchain network that we are using or the provider that we are using. So here we are using Ganache. So it's just actually validating that we have installed Ganache, and it is basically showing the version of the Ganache as well as the RPC version as well. So that was about this particular method. So now we move on to the next method, that is the current Ethereum protocol version. So let's check what is the current Ethereum protocol version that we are using. So this is the particular version. So let's check it out. What does this mean in decimals? So we'll just move a few steps further in our manual. Another next. And here we get a method that is echo $, and there we have to put in the hexadecimal value. I'll just go on another tab of the terminal and we'll paste this out. And within the brackets, we need to put in the value. So we'll just select it once more and we will paste it there. And you can see it is coming as 63. So 0x3f, it was a hexadecimal value, easily converted to decimal value by this particular single line command. And it shows that the current protocol version that we are using is 63. So these are good to know features about your blockchain network that you are using. So it will educate you about all the basic things. So once you have done with the basics, let's move on to some real things that we actually would like to know about our network, or some things that will actually make us feel more excited about it. So we will now just use the show balance method. So let's check what happens with show balance method. So it uses the method get Ethereum balance, that is mainly ETH get balance. What it does is that you are passing some parameters into it. Till now we have been doing just just calls of the JSON-RPC request, and we're not passing any parameters. Here we are passing a parameter 0x5c something, a long parameter. So let's check what this parameter actually means. So basically this parameter is nothing but the public key of a node in our network. So if we hit next send, we get a value. We will get a value in return. So this is another hexadecimal value. So we need to convert it. So let's just convert it back to decimal value. We will rerun this command here with the new values, and let's check it out. So this is the value that we have got. And now if we convert it, this is not in ethers. So we need to get the answer in ethers as well, right? We'll just take it and we'll place it here and we'll convert it. So this is 1 followed by a lot of zeros. It's 22 digits decimal number. So it's better you use this website, because as the number gets very big, sometimes it is causing some problems when we try to convert it in our terminal. So get the accurate value, you can visit this website. And once you got this is not in ethers. So we need to come to this Ethereum unit converter. It's basically in WEI. So if we just paste it here, we get the value in ethers. So that is 1000 ethers. And if you remember that when we initially checked our network, we have also saw that every account or every node is topped up with 1000 ethers. And we can verify that from here as well. And if you want, you can try it with some other address as well. So let's just go there. I can easily edit this. That's not a problem. We'll just go here and we will replace this with the new address that we want. And we then hit send again. And we have got another response. And we've got the same hexadecimal value, because all are topped up with 1000 ethers. So let's just make a transaction. Let's just send some ethers from one account to the other. And let's see how this thing works. We'll just move it here. So what we have done is that, if you see, here is the from in which we are giving the public key of the node from which we are sending the amount of ethers. And in the next line, we are giving the receiver's address. both are the public keys and we are not using private keys here. So after that we are putting in the value. So let's just check what is the value that we are sending. So we'll just convert it to decimal first from hexadecimal and 20 digits. So I suppose we are sending around 10 ethers. And yes, we are sending 10 ethers from this receiver, that is receiver 1, and to receive account 3. So let's just execute it. We'll send it and let's see what is the response that we have received. So this is the response. This is a hash value. This is a hexadecimal value again. And in the next particular JSON request that we will do, we will play with this hash value and we will get some additional details about it. In the meantime, you can also try and check the balances of both the accounts, account 0 and account 3, to confirm that whether the transaction is happened or not. So let's just try it out once. So this was the show balance method. So we're just opening it. We are going back to it and we will put in the address 1 and just a minute. And then we will send the request. And you can see I have got a response. So if you remember the old value, there is some change from the old response that we have got. So now it makes me excited to check and find out what is the decimal value that we have received from you. So let's just check it out. And as we have converted, we got a big decimal number, but it is of 21 digits, not 22 digits. So let's check that out as well. So we have got 989.9999, a big number. That is, it's not equal to 1000 ethers, but you should have checked that we should have got 990 ethers because we sent 10 ethers. So it should be 990, but there is some value that we have lost. So we will understand that what is the value that we have lost in the upcoming steps. So for that, let's move on to this get transaction by hash method. So what this call basically does is that it gets you the details about a transaction. And here in the parameters, we are going to put in the transaction hash. Remember I told you that we are going to use that hash value, that decimal value, that hexadecimal value in other call. So let's just use it out. We'll just copy it from here and then we'll paste it here. And now if we give a send request to it, as you can see, there is a result, but it is showing as null. I suppose we have, I actually did not copy the hash correctly. So that caused the error. So you should be careful about these long numbers. So we are again sending it. And now we've got a status OK, and we have got a whole detail about it. So it firstly gives the hash value, then it gives a chain ID, then it's nonce, block number, transaction index is given. And here you can see the from and to address is there. And this is the value that we have transferred, that is 10 ethers. And this is the gas price, gas fees. So this fees and gas price, these are the fees for the transactions that are charged. So due to this, some extra amount is deducted from the sender and the receiver receives the same 10 ethers. So this is the fees that you pay, and this is determined by the network. So that is something that was very important about this particular call. And next we can also get a transaction receipt. So the difference between get transaction and by hash and get transaction receipt is that in get transaction receipt, you get a more detailed overview. The get transaction by hash will give you it will also give you an outlook of your transaction, but it will give you a much streamlined view, but this will give you a more detailed information about your transaction. So let's just check that out as well. So here we go. And we paste this and then we will send it. Once we have sent the request, let's check out what we are seeing here. So as you can see, these are a lot more details. There is a logs bloom, there is effective gas price, some types. So this is the difference between two. You get a more detailed outlook of your transaction. So these two are very important after you have done a transaction. So it will give you the total gist about the whole thing that you have done in that particular transaction. So now we'll move on with the next method. So in this, we will get the gas price in V. As you know that it's a 22-digit decimal number. So let's just call this and get the gas price. And we have got the gas price in our response. So this is the response. We have got the gas price in V, but we have got it as a hexadecimal number. So let's just convert it quickly to our decimal form. And this is the gas price. So let's just convert it from V to Ether. So this is the effective gas price in Ethers, and it is 20 something like that. So I will just, we can confirm this from our terminal as well, because this is listed here as well, as I already told you. So as you can see here, it is. So default gas price, this is same as what we have got from here. So you can see everything works together, and we can confirm the responses that we are getting from our network as well. And you can also notice here that every method that we have called, it is coming written as here, because this is the server which is serving the JSON RPC requests, and hence everything is there in the server. The server is logging all the things. So you can just, it's a very good thing to verify that what you are doing is actually reflecting from the server or not. And you can always cross check the response that you are getting. So now we will just come to another method. So this will give you the transaction count. So here, if you give the address of any of the node and its public key, and after that you hit send, you can get the count of the number of transactions that already occurred. So here 0x1, it basically means 1 in decimal, but still we can confirm that here. So let's just do it. So just a minute, we will just paste it, and okay, it's giving a syntax error. Okay, leave it. We will just go here and we'll complete it, and we'll see here it is. So decimal number 1, because we have only performed one transaction, and if you perform multiple transactions, let's just repeat the previous transaction one more time. So we have, see, after a transaction we get a different hash for each, and now if we go and execute this, we will get a count of 2. That means everything is working perfectly fine. And if you come back to this, you can see after send transaction and then transaction count. So this was about it, guys. We have checked how we can interact with our local Ganache blockchain using our JSON RPC request.